It's cool out there, and the cattle are fat, and the horses are running and kicking, and the antelope are playing, and sure looks nice.
Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Ranching requires more different kinds of knowledge than any other enterprise that I'm aware or have seen. With that knowledge and working with nature all day, every day, I can't imagine a more gratifying and soul fulfilling experience.
John Merrill ranches near Crowley, just south of Fort Worth. He has been in ranching all his life.
Couldn't help it. My great-grandfather came from Georgia to ranch in Texas, Kendall County near San Antonio in 1856. Health failed, moved back to Sunnydale Plantation in Georgia during the war years. My grandfather at that time was 14 years old in the academy. They were strong on education. So he ran away to fight for the South during the war between the states. Immediately afterward, he came back to Texas to cowboy again and became an early day trail driver, made 6 trips up the trail from the 1860s to the 1880s. Then in 1872, we moved to Somerville County near Glen Rose, and we've used the same brands for that period of time, 133 years. And then we wound up in the registered and commercial Hereford business, and that was the first registered heifer that I bought when I guess I was somewhere around 8 or 10 years old. It took me 2 or 3 years to pay for her. We switched from Herefords to Angus in 1947, which was unheard of at the time because all my dad's Aggie classmates were leaders in the Hereford business, but they've always been real good to us.
John, whose nickname is Chip, is a family man.
Fell in love with my high school sweetheart, Virginia. Fell for her when I was 14, asked her to marry me when I was 16, and married her when I was a 19-year-old senior at Texas A&M. This is us as freshmen at Tarleton. I thought it'd be better if I took her with me to school, but then she went to Denton and I went to Texas A&M to finish up. Was lucky enough to be on the Corps staff at a time when there were probably 7,000 in the Corps, and we were the only ones who got to march ahead of the Fighting Aggie Band, which is a real thrill. Got out and went through pilot training. Lived in a C-124 for 2 years with 1,550 hours in the one airplane, flying from Mobile, Alabama to Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, and all the spots in between in North Africa. This would be 1954 to 1956, active duty. Got out of the Air Force and came back home. Kids came along, Suzanne, John, and Will grew up working on the ranch, and I guess I should say Ginger grew up working on the ranch as well.
He says a rancher's wife has a big job.
Because they put up with more than anybody should have to, with medicine in the refrigerator and a bunch of other things that go with it. I remember several times when we were calving in freezing weather and would have 3 frozen down calves and in the kitchen and be trying to eat supper with a calf dying beside you, or have them in the bathtub or the shower trying to warm them up. And it takes a special kind of lady to put up with that, and then, if need be, to nurse them on past that. So I've just been real fortunate to have a wonderful partner.
John was director of TCU's ranch management program, 33 years.
Every year a shiny crop of new graduates comes out, well-schooled in their discipline, but not knowing the vast array of things that affect the profitability of ranching. And ranchers saw that need and asked TCU as a private school to undertake it. My dad and I were Aggies, but we thought that was the best thing that had ever been done, and really proud of TCU for doing it. I got a call to come in and see the chancellor, and we thought they were wondering whether to continue that infant program or stop it, and we wanted to go vote for it. And the chancellor said, "No, I want you to run it." I said, "I can't. I've never taught anything but a Sunday school class. I'm a rancher." He's a very engaging guy, and he said, I said, "Could I continue to ranch?" He said, "Yes, if you can handle it, that would be an advantage." I said, "Could I take class attendance mandatory? If they miss one class, kick them out. Y'all go ahead."
James Link is director of the ranch management program now.
You know, one of the greatest attributes that John had to this program was bringing in a high degree of discipline into an educational system that I think has let a lot of discipline go away. And over the years, we've had several students that had a little trouble adjusting to that. And I pride myself in continuing that. We've got a pretty high standards of ethics. John did an excellent job of instilling self-discipline, honesty, and integrity into what they're doing, and adding a degree of professionalism. And we've built on that over the time. And I'm still kind of considered a hard nose, I guess, by some of the students, but I have a pretty basic ethics policy here. I say, if you lie to me or cheat or steal, you're out of this program. That was carried forward from John. He was pretty much disciplined and no fooling around, heads up businessman, and here's how we're going to approach education. And if you do it right, you'll do well. If you do it wrong, you won't do it here.
There's so few of us in this business. It's really easy to maintain your integrity and reputation. If you ever break that, it's difficult, if not impossible, to get back. So they must understand above anything else that honesty, integrity counts regardless of your endeavor, but absolutely in our business.
The main qualification that we look for in a student is their maturity and their sincerity to be interested in the industry, that they want to make their living in the ranching industry, and either for themselves or managing someone else's property.
A high degree of maturity, because it's 54 semester hours of work in 2 semesters, 6 hours of lecture all day, every day, when they're not traveling much longer hours than that, for about 9,000 miles through 3 states. So it's not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah, it's very intensive. I tell students when we're interviewing for this that this is going to be kind of like an academic boot camp. Instead of having a visiting professor come to the campus, we take the students and go to the visiting professor's classroom, which may be in a feed yard, or it may be on the high plains, or it may be in West Texas or in Kansas or Oklahoma. But we go to ranchers that are doing what we're teaching these students how to do, and letting the students get exposed to them to learn their management philosophies and the things that they've done that have been successful to them, and things that they've done that have not been successful for them.
So it's been a joy to try to pass on as much information as we can to as many people as we can. And they seem really to appreciate it and then to enjoy using it.
This year is the beginning of our 50th year. This graduating class will be the 50th. This semester we have 20 full-time students in it. We have the capability of taking 34 into the program.
John Merrill practices total resource management on his ranch.
We're lucky enough to be in the tall grass prairie, and over time with rotation grazing have been able to restore it, a lot of it, to almost original condition. And so much so that last year we were able to harvest 1,000 acres of native blue stem mix seed. We have leased hunting for dove, quail, and ducks. Then we've developed quite a turkey population and white-tailed deer on the Fort Worth Prairie inside the city limits.
John has served as an officer and board member of several ranching organizations. He is well respected by people in the industry.
He's a gentleman in every sense of the word. You can't find a better person than John Merrill. As far as his knowledge about all facets of agriculture, it's just really uncanny. I've never run into anyone that's as knowledgeable as John is.
You can't outdo Chip. You do something for him, the first thing you know, it'll come back tenfold. Once he starts something, he's going to finish it.
And there's no telling what kind of influence he's had on the ranching industry in the last 25, 30 years.
John loves to watch his cattle during his favorite time of day.
Late in the afternoon when the sun is low and the world kind of turns to velvet. Whatever you didn't get done probably isn't going to get done, and it's time to just rear back and enjoy it. Never happier than the middle of a good horse in the middle of the pasture. That's living. where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day.